I know a lot of people are very despondent at the minute. They're worried about what's happening on the streets. They're worried about George Galloway or Galloway or whatever they call him getting elected in Rochdale. And they're absolutely distraught about the state of politics in the UK in general and the pathetic weak leadership we've got, the wokeness, the Islamism, the far left. That's just the Conservative Party. There's no option. There's no option, basically, for people that think like me in England to vote in the next election. I'm lucky or blessed to live in Northern Ireland, and in Northern Ireland, we've got a candidate that is really well worth voting for. But I know in England there's massive problems politically, and I can understand people being despondent. I can understand people being cast down and worried about what's happening. But here's the thing. I believe the darkest hour is just before dawn. I think that's a very true saying. And things seem very dark and very dismal at the minute in England, and especially if we get a Labour government. But what's just happened in Rochdale could absolutely scupper the Labour Party, could sink them, which is a good thing. The Conservative Party needs dealt with as well. They need a good slap too. But the reality is, if this fella stands loads and loads of candidates up and down the country to stand against Labour, one or two things are going to happen. Either Labour is going to go for the Islamist vote and become more and more Islamicised and become the Islamic Labour Party of Britain, or there's going to be a split, and the people who support Corbyn, Galloway, or whatever his name is, they're going to go and do their own thing. They're going to make it so that the Labour Party won't get a majority at the next election, and it's going to create absolute chaos on the left and with the Islamist vote that would have supported the Labour Party, let's be honest. So I think that's a positive. I think that's a great positive. The other thing I was thinking, in terms of politics on our side, we need something totally new. And I've said this before, there is nothing out there at the minute. There isn't a political party in England that represents me. And I know from speaking to people all over the country on a daily basis, there's millions of people, working class British people, that think exactly how I do. They want common sense politics. They want straight talking politics. They want straight talking politicians, and they want the problems of our country sorted out, whether it be immigration, whether it be the craziness of climate change, whatever the issue is. There are people in this country that want it sorted out. So there's a massive gap in the market there, and nobody's filling it, and I mean nobody. I've said this before many times. I believe if we could get Tommy at the head of a political movement or a political party, that it would just be energized. And if he had the right people around him and the right people backing him, it would be an absolute powerhouse of British politics for the British working class, and would again do the Labour Party massive damage, because British patriotic people who would have voted Labour are not doing that anymore, and they're voting Conservative or Reform through gritted teeth. You know my opinion on the Reform Party. I don't believe they're the real deal. I don't believe they're the real deal at all. So what I'm saying this morning is, I'm not concerned about what's happened in Rochdale. I'm not concerned about tens of thousands of Islamists on the street. We could put numbers on the street if we wanted to, but we choose not to. The reality is, what I'm concerned about is having a political voice, because the only way that we can actually make change is through politics. And once you get political power, then you can start changing the institutions. And it's at least a 10-year process to probably get the country anywhere near how it should be. So what I see at the minute is a great opportunity. If all the stars align and if people get their act together, we could start a political movement that would not be shunned to the extremes. It wouldn't be, shunned to the extremes of British politics. It would become mainstream. We could do, I believe, in a year, we could do what Geert Wilders did with the Freedom Party in the Netherlands in 10 years. Genuinely believe that. Because I think there's that much of a need for that in the UK right now. Now, will it happen? I don't know. I don't know. But that's what we've got to be thinking about. That's what we've got to be thinking about. We've got to be thinking of how we can affect this next general election. And then once this general election has happened, and I don't believe there's going to be this massive Labour majority. I think there could be a hung parliament the way things are going. So what we need to do is we need to plan, we need to strategize, we need to sit down, we need to talk to people, we need to get people energized, we need to get people that haven't voted since the Brexit vote voting, we need to get people thinking about forming a new political structure, whether it's a party or a movement, doesn't really matter at this stage. And we need to put all our energies into having the voice of the British people heard, because there isn't one party in this country at the minute that truly represents the British people, not one. And believe you me, I think if we get the right people and we get the right vehicle, we could turn politics in the UK completely upside down in a year. Anyway, it's a time for optimism, not a time for despair. See you all soon.